Boo. Why the boo?
I don't know.
Actually, I'll tell you a story in a second. Hi, welcome to Seen and Heard.
Hi.
This is the podcast all about the Sight and Sound Top 100 Greatest Films of All Time list.
That's what we do.
I'm Greg,
I'm Jackie.
and we're here this week for not our regular episode.
So usually we watch a movie off the Sight and Sound
Wait,
list.
we do?
But this is our 100th episode. Now, it's a little confusing, though, because I realized as I was updating the website that I've been listing them excluding the S'mores episodes.
Oh, right. S'mores counts.
So it's technically
Well, if
on
you-
our website.
on our website,
This is
just-
like number
yeah.
90.
We'll do something about that. And yeah, if you go on, like, if you look on Apple Podcasts or something, I think technically we have like 105 episodes or 104, but it's because we've done little snippets. One is our trailer, which is not a full episode, and one is like we introduced Aaron's podcast and then Felicia's podcast and stuff. So we have a few, and then we announce a giveaway. So those technically are counting on Apple Podcasts as episodes, but they're not real episodes.
I see.
An episode's not an episode unless I was going to say talk about a movie, but then we also do our like greatest films of the year list.
That's talking about movies. What are
That's
you
true.
talking
Yeah,
about?
that's true. Talking about movies. Well, I meant like one movie.
No.
So this week, yeah, we have a bottle of champagne here
We do.
that Jackie brought. So this is going to be kind of like,
Should I open it?
open it. Let's do it. This is going to be a looser episode than normal because we're not talking about a specific film. This is going to be us reflecting back on the last a little over 2 years we've been doing the show,
Wow.
the last 100 episodes. And we have some listener questions that you guys have submitted that we'll be reading. And we have not read them yet. I tried not to look when I copied and pasted them. So it's going to be spontaneous responses.
And we're also going to just look back on what we've done so far and what we have to do still.
Exactly. So yeah, this is casual. So I get some of the listeners might not, if you want to move ahead to the next episode.
Why are you giving them that option?
Well, I'm saying you should stay. You should 100% stay. But I also
Do people who watch Seinfeld skip the 100th episode?
I skip the clip shows of Seinfeld. Yeah.
Interesting. But you've seen it before.
I've seen it like once, and then I was like, okay, I don't need
That's
to see it
it.
again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You only need to listen to this episode once.
Yeah. So, this won't be a traditional clip show because we won't be playing clips from old episodes. It's all
That would've been
new.
cool, but a lot of work.
Yes. So here we are, our 100th episode. Oh, there we go.
This is the sound of champagne being poured.
Ooh, boy.
ASMR is fun.
Yeah. So this is going to be loose. We don't know what's going to happen. We have a very rough outline for what we want to do this episode, but we're just here to hang out. This is our Rio Bravo episode. Oh, there we go. To 100.
To 100.
That's nice. Yeah. Well,
Well,
before
yeah.
before you said boo earlier,
I did say boo.
it just happens that I have a segue off of that boo.
Okay.
Where did the boo come from?
I was just trying to scare you.
Oh, okay. I'm totally serious. Okay, this is not a joke. I'm 100% serious. A couple nights ago, because we record in my office. A couple nights ago, I was editing in here. Actually, our Jean Dielman episode. I had my headphones on. It was after midnight, and Molly had gone to bed. And all of a sudden, I noticed in this room that we've recorded 95 of our 100 episodes in or something. I noticed that it smelled like old cigarettes, which I've never smelled in this room before.
What?
In the 3 years that I've lived here. And then I'm sitting on this couch right here, and it was as if there were two thumps on the seat next to me. And the first one happened, and because I was editing, I had my headphones on, these very headphones, and I stopped, and I was like, whoa, what? And then I threw my headphones off, and then it thumped again. And
You saw the cushion move?
No. It could be explained away, because this is also a fold-out bed. It almost felt like a spring popping, but because it folds in, I've never felt a spring pop on here before.
The cigarettes is interesting. Maybe it was the ghost of Chantal Akerman and Delphine Seyrig. It was their ghosts.
Well, that's what I'd like to think. But my friend and neighbor who used to live in this apartment said that he also, cigarette smell would come and go from this room sometimes. He had a piece of art on the wall, and him and his boyfriend were in here talking one time, and it just like fell off the wall.
What? I don't believe
I'm serious. I'm not. If I was
any of these on the wall ever fallen?
These have never fallen off, and don't give any ghosts any ideas because this is where my valuable films are on the shelves. No, this just happened like 2 nights ago, and I'm 100% serious.
It's so weird that I said boo then.
Yeah.
That is actually very weird.
Yeah. So it was a thing. If it was just the cigarettes or just the popping on the couch, I would kind of like let it go, be like, oh, whatever. But the two happened at the same time. And Margot, as soon as the couch like popped, she was staring at it as if so intently as if there was like a mouse on the couch or something. Like sometimes she'll look in the corner as cats do, right? And like think she sees something, but like she was like really intent on like looking at the couch. Whoa. I'm 100% serious. I wish I was joking.
That's great.
So
I love that for us.
I guess we're opening this with a ghost story.
Yeah, I love that. Does Molly want some champagne?
Yeah.
Tell her to come in here and toast with us.
Here, I'll text her.
Okay. So we've done 100 episodes, and those episodes have been a mixed bag of both Sight and Sound movies, which is our regular fare, if you will. That's what the podcast is about. It's the Sight and Sound list. And so we've done movies off the 2012 list, and then we had the 2022 list come along.
Yeah.
Just last year. And so we've been 2 years ago?
No, it was a little over a year ago.
Last year though.
No, not last calendar year.
But I said last year.
That's true. 2 calendar years ago.
And now we still do the 2012 list, but we also acknowledge where a certain movie lies on the 2022 list. So besides Sight and Sound Fair, though, we've done some personal prints.
We have done some personal prints.
Do you want me to read all the personal prints we've done?
Let's do it.
Honestly,
and it's been a while.
I forgot. I know. I forgot. This was really nice. I went down memory lane. Midnight Cowboy. I think this goes from most recent to oldest. Midnight Cowboy. Frances Ha. Housekeeping. Xanadu. Remember we did it when Olivia Newton-John passed?
Oh, yeah.
Moulin Rouge. E.T. Brazil. Vagabond, which was the first one I did. The Shining, which was the first one you did.
Right.
And that was early. Like, you did The Shining. That was episode 11 was our first personal print.
It shows
that was early.
I was so antsy to do a horror movie. You can see if you track the podcast, this whole thing was conceived to just make you into a horror fan, basically.
It kind of worked.
And if you follow The Shining to Black Christmas, right? Where Black Christmas, you're like, I really love this movie. And I was like, full circle. Like, you've now become a horror fan.
But we haven't done that many. What else
no,
have we done?
haven't.
Are those the only two we've done? But I, on my own, have sought out and have found.
You have?
Yeah. So you did The Shining episode 11. I did Vagabond episode 15. So we only waited like 4 movies until... I feel like we do them so much less now.
Well, we do them because we have s'mores. That's why.
That is true. So besides the personal prints, we also have s'mores.
Yes.
I didn't write down our s'mores.
You know what? It's right here on the website.
Do you think we can name it on the top of our head?
Yeah, you know what? Let's try. From the beginning.
Okay, it was Pink Flamingos.
Yes.
And then it was Love, right?
Yes.
And then it was Return to Oz.
Uh-huh. Oh, here's one.
Hello.
Do you have a
Come
glass?
have some. Here you are, madame. I like your cup.
Oh, thank you. It's from Madame. Oh, boy. Generous pour. Cheers, you guys.
Cheers. Thank you for all you do.
Here, say it on here. Say it on here. You have to say something because people are listening.
Molly's here.
Congratulations, you guys. On
Thank
100
you, Molly.
episodes. It's a huge deal. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And thank you for all your help.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Molly designs all of our graphics and our t-shirts. That's all Molly.
She does an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
It's all right.
This is when he like shoves
The mic in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you've got mail.
Yep.
Cheers.
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 to you.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, this is that kind of
Sounds
episode.
so weird.
That's what you're in for. Hopefully some people are tickled by this casual
so.
vibe.
Okay, I got lost after Return to Oz. That's 3.
4 and 5 are kind of a piece.
And you know them.
Yeah.
Do you remember them or you just looked them up?
No, I remember them.
Okay, it was Kenneth Anger and Maya Deren.
Yep. That's 4 and 5.
Okay.
6.
Phantom of... No.
No. Think
You remember off the top of your head?
Roger Corman,
Oh, yeah.
Vincent Price,
Yeah, Mask of the Red Death.
Mask of the Red Death, then Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise.
Then we took our break and we
took a
came
break.
back.
We came back with Black Christmas, and then we did Coffee, and then we did Happiness.
Happiness.
Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah.
What was your favorite s'mores that we've done?
My favorite s'mores. I honestly, one of my favorites is the Kenneth Anger episode because I just love his work, and it was especially potent at the time because he had just passed away. I remember we held a poll on Patreon between him and Maya Deren, and it was a tie. So we broke the tie by flipping a coin, and we picked Maya Deren, and we were just about to do Maya
And then he
Deren,
passed
and then he
away.
passed away.
Yeah.
So we flipped immediately.
Yeah. I think that was the right move.
And that was like, I feel like there's been maybe 2 movies on the show so far that you and I have sat and watched together. And that day of watching like Kenneth Anger shorts was great.
That was fun.
We did the entire Magic Lantern
Yeah.
cycle.
The other one was The Shining, right?
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 we've watched together?
I think so. Yeah. For the show.
I guess so.
Yeah.
My favorite s'mores. God.
Are you talking about like favorite s'mores movie or favorite s'mores episode?
I guess both. Why? Do you have a separate one for movie?
No, I'll stay with the Kenneth Anger one.
I think I'll probably go with Black Christmas.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah. I could have called that.
It's just such a good movie.
So good.
It's so good. Okay, then what's your favorite personal print that wasn't one that you chose? Like that was my choice, my pick.
Vagabond.
Okay.
Which I'd seen before, and I'd seen Moulin Rouge, of course. I mean, I honestly, because wait, you did those and you did Frances Ha.
Yes.
I mean, they're all great. If I had to pick a single favorite, yeah, probably Vagabond, with Moulin Rouge a close second.
Oh, thanks.
What about you? What's
Yours
your
are
favorite?
all really good. Yours are all so good, but
Trying to butter me up.
it's probably Housekeeping, honestly.
Yes.
And we had Christine Lottie.
We had Christine Lottie on the show. That's one where, like, if you haven't seen Housekeeping.
Like, I read the book after that episode.
That's
'cause I was like,
right.
I love this.
Yeah, like if you haven't seen that movie, go watch the movie. Dear God, go watch the movie because it's underappreciated and people do not talk about it enough. And yeah, we were very blessed to be joined by Christine Lottie on that episode.
Yeah, it was great. We've had some pretty fun guests. We've had Christine Lottie. We had Robert Reed Altman for
Yeah.
Nashville. Nashville's episode 39. Nashville's number 114 on the 2022 list.
That's
so it did
blasphemy.
get bumped. However, it's still on the list, but it's not on the top 100.
Doesn't count. It's just
So I'm glad that we did it when we did.
yeah, when it was
because-
still on the 100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
We had Robert McNaughton. That was for E.T., which was a personal print. Was that like, whose personal print was that?
I think it was like a mutual one we decided,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We were also doing it because it was the 40th anniversary of E.T.
Yeah. He was great.
Yeah.
Great insight.
Yeah. Well, and then we had Color Pomegranates. We had a guest on that episode too.
Yes. Anahit Mikhailian from the Parajanov Museum for our Color of Pomegranates episode. That was episode 38.
Yeah.
That film has also been bumped from the top 100, but it was number
Wow.
84 when we did it.
Wow.
That's just the way it goes. Besides those guests, we have had friends on, which has been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had our friends from Breath of Fresh Movie,
Mulholland Drive. Yeah. Victoria and
from
Chelsea.
Mulholland Drive. We had Luce from Videotech just recently.
Right. For the General.
The General. We
Yeah.
had Becca, who's we met her through Letterboxd.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Because she also did the Sight and Sound Challenge.
Right.
With her blog. And
She was on twice.
She was on twice because originally I had asked her what she wanted to be on. When I first found, this was like a week after we started our podcast, because I was looking at Letterboxd reviews for one of the episodes, and I found Becca and it said like Sight and Sound Challenge, the Cinematic Life blog, watching all the movies. And so I was like, okay, great. Like I found a comrade, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to her and I said, like we have this podcast. What movie do you want to do? And she said Once Upon a Time in the West. And then when the new list came out, we were like, wait a second. We should probably talk the new list with someone who's done the old list.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah. Also, her husband, Craig, shout out to Craig, who we would love to have on sometime too, because he's so great.
Yeah, Craig is awesome.
Yeah, we've also had Daisuke Beppu. He was on an episode. He was on our episode for Godfather 1. It wasn't 2, right? It was Godfather 1.
Yes.
Molly was on for our Xanadu episode.
Molly was on.
Which was a last minute thing. Like we were recording and then we were like, do you want to join at the very, very last minute?
It was fun. Oh, we did your favorite movie of all time, Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah, and we did yours, right? Or you don't have a
I
favorite.
don't have a favorite.
Or Sound of Music is your favorite, right?
Kind of, yeah.
We should
probably do it.
let us know if you've been missing the personal prints, because we can certainly sprinkle those in from time to time.
What personal print do you want to see me do? And what personal print do I want to see you do?
Well, I want to see you do The Sound of Music because I feel like that is
Really?
your default
That's interesting.
favorite movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a great film.
That's so good.
Yeah.
What do I want to see you do? Probably Popeye, honestly.
Yeah, Victoria and Chelsea just did Popeye for Breath of Fresh movie.
What was the verdict?
I don't think they didn't like it very much. Which I don't blame them. I was watching some YouTube video recently about some misunderstood movie. Whatever, you get lost in a YouTube rabbit hole of like recommended videos. And this guy was like, do you remember that movie Toys with Robin Williams? You probably don't, because it was like very specific to the 90s and then it was like forgotten. This movie called Toys that's been forgotten. It's not a good movie. And this guy made a whole video essay in defense of it. And he was like, look, Robin Williams was also in Popeye, and there's people out there who actually like that movie. And like, how much of a crime is it that people like that movie and don't like Toys? And I was like, you are a fool. Like, Toys is not a good movie, and Popeye is a great film. So anyway, let's talk about the genesis of this show. How did this show start?
I didn't even think about talking about that.
Yeah.
The show started, I believe we were at Jameson Brown Coffee Roasters.
Yes.
And we were just getting coffee. We hadn't seen each other in like probably 2 years.
Yeah, because COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Year and a half, 2 years.
I forgot how it came up, but I think you said something that you like, you were thinking like, if all else fails, like you want to be a professor. And I was like, so do I. Like, that sounds fun.
Right.
And then you were like, yeah, but it's so hard to like get a job like writing about movies. And I said, yeah, like, I've tried, I've failed. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I've always been looking, like I've looked for in the past, I've actively sought out a podcast about the Sight and Sound list, and there isn't one. And I was like, you could have a podcast about that. And you were like, whoa, like really? And I was like, yeah, like that's actually a podcast. Well, how did we even get to how did the conversation turn to podcasting?
Okay, I remember exactly how it happened.
Then why are you asking me?
So we worked together at a production company, and then COVID happened, you left, and then we kind of got back in touch when you made your movie, and then we got coffee that one time, and we had that exact conversation. Then we went to Videotech. Because you were like, I've always wanted to check out Videotech. Do you want to go really
so
quick?
Funny.
And I was like, yeah, let's go. And then we went to Videotech, and I remember we're in the aisles just like chatting up a storm about, we're going through like the different director sections and stuff. And then the guy that worked there came by and was like, sounds like there's some good cinema talk happening over here.
Wait, this happened?
Yeah, you don't remember?
No.
Yeah. He said that, and then that was it. And then we left.
The moment you knew.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
But we talked about the site. I mentioned that day, like, you could have a podcast, and there's no podcast about the Sight and Sound list.
No, you didn't. You texted it to me later. It was like 2 days later, and I was trying to find the text, but it's like way back in our text combo.
There's no way you're gonna find it.
No.
That was like 3 years ago.
It was like 3 years ago, but you sent me a text and you were just like, I was thinking like, no one has a podcast about the Sight and Sound list, and like, you sort of pitched it, and then I immediately was like, yeah, sounds great. And I don't know, when you pitched it, did you mean just for me to do it? And then did I rope you into it, or were you suggesting like a collab thing like it became?
I feel like originally I was just pitching it for you.
And then I was just like, yeah, sounds good. Let's do it. And
yeah,
you're like, oh,
and I was like, oh, like, yeah, I could. But I didn't know anything about, I still don't know anything about how any of this works, to be honest. Like the tech.
Right.
And all of that. And you were like, I'll edit it. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I think it's hard. Like, I don't know if this is just something you can take up. And you're like, it's fine. Look, I found this Reddit page and like this YouTube, and it explains how to do it. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
If you handle all of that like tech stuff, yeah, like I'll come in with specs and I'll like come in with an outline, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and then we were up and rolling pretty quick. Like, I want to say you sent me that text a couple days after we got coffee, and then I immediately was like, yes, that's a great idea. We chatted on the phone like a week later, and then the next week we started buying equipment.
That's crazy.
And then we were doing test episode. We did our test episode on Woman Under the Influence.
Yes.
And we forgot a guest. Our friend Kat was on.
Kat!
She was on our episode.
God, Kat!
She was on our episode
I'm
for
sorry.
2001.
So Kat was there from the beginning because Kat is like one of my very, very, very dear friends, and she co-directed my first movie with me, and she's an amazing, just like director, producer, everything woman. And of course she knows a bunch about podcasts. And so when I had the idea, I immediately reached out to her because that's just what I do when I have an idea. And she was like, yeah, like I'll help you guys. And her favorite movie of all time is 2001. So yeah, I said like, you can come on for the 2001. But she was with us when we recorded our first episode.
Our first couple.
She was, yeah.
Because we were like, because you and I, big secret here, we don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
But I was listening when we started. And then once we started, it all went
that
down
took
the
up all
drain.
your bandwidth, huh?
It did. It's really sad.
I've never really been a big podcast person. I think for one reason was I couldn't find a film podcast that I really liked, that I really connected with.
So then you made one yourself.
Yeah. That sounds so like egotistical, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the reason. Like, no one had been doing the Sight and Sound list. The goal from the beginning was to bridge this gap between academic and casual, right? Of like, that's been our goal. And we've had some people reach out, over the years that we've been doing the show that have kind of reaffirmed that, which is always like great to hear.
It's so nice. The funniest is we've gotten an email from like, I think he was a high schooler.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Can you please do an episode on this movie because I have homework on it?
Yeah.
We got asked to do someone's homework, essentially.
I'm like, look, that could be arranged. We'd have to discuss, but
that was hilarious.
Yeah, we did. We literally did get asked to do someone's homework. For
I
them.
mean, yeah, I haven't thought about the inception of the show in a really, really long time.
Well, for the first episode, we did Woman Under the Influence.
Yeah, because we were like, let's do a movie that's not on the list that we both love that we can just like.
So we did that as a test, and Kat was there, and we did it in your grandma's like basement.
To do it in my grandma's basement.
In this big echoey room.
My grandma has this giant basement. Yeah, a lot of echoes. We didn't know. How were we supposed to know? And I was like, I know an empty space that no one ever goes in.
Exactly.
And we can use it.
Yeah, so we did that. And we've since made that episode available on Patreon. So if you are on there, you can hear.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even
because what happened was the Mask of the Red Death. We wanted to make one S'mores episode public so people could hear what they're all about. So we made that one public, but then we released the Woman Under the Influence one on Patreon.
So funnily enough, on the 2022 list, Woman Under the Influence is number 114.
What the fuck? It should be like top 20.
It wasn't even, but like still, it's close. I think that's the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And our plan, by the way, if you didn't know, is once we're done with the top 100, we are going to do top 250. So
yeah.
I feel like one of the things I've loved about this is like first of all, just exposing me to such amazing movies, and also just reflecting about directors' filmography, because there's a few directors that have a lot of movies on the list, right?
Yeah.
And so we've talked about them. Like, we both love Bergman. We both worship Bergman. And so we've done like Fanny and Alexander. We did Persona. We did Seventh Seal.
Wild Strawberries is coming up pretty
That's
soon.
what I was going to say. Wild Strawberries, which is number 63.
Yeah.
It's coming up pretty soon.
It is.
But that was really fun doing. And I like how like we share Bergman. I mean, we share like a lot of people, but
Powell and Pressburger.
so that was my next point. One of the big things of the podcast is just how much I've loved Powell and Pressburger and how much we've bonded over them and their films.
I'm thinking about all the filmmakers we have a tier named after on Patreon. And so we have a
Exactly.
Bergman, we have a Powell and Pressburger, we have a Varda tier.
Yes.
And then the last one is Pauline Kael.
Yes.
So funny story, about maybe a year ago, I got a Powell and Pressburger
I remember
bumper
that.
sticker
Yeah.
for my car.
And would you have done that if we didn't have this podcast?
It might have pushed me to do it. Now that I tell people, now they're going to know if it's me, what car I'm in. They're
no,
going
it's
to egg my
great.
car or something. But so it's so funny because it just says I'd rather be watching a Technicolor masterpiece by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. And I had it on my car, and I went to Vroman's Books here in Pasadena recently.
Best place.
And I was getting out of my car, and this woman was walking behind, and I parked, and she stopped right behind me. Like, I thought she was going to say I parked too close to her or something, because the parking spots there are like really slim. And she was staring at the back of my car, and she was like, I think she just started talking about their movies. She didn't even say Powell and Pressburger, because it like took me a second to put it together, because I also have a Twin Peaks bumper sticker, so I don't know which one she's talking about. And then she starts talking about I Know Where I'm Going, their early black and white film.
Yeah.
And as she's talking about them, she's just like continuing to walk away from me, like pushing this cart. And she's like, yeah. And she's, oh, they're movies. But as she's like disappearing in the distance, and then I was like, oh, yeah. I was just trying to think of the first thing I could say. I'm like, their use of color. And she's like, well, that one didn't have color. I'm like, I know, I'm just talking in general. And then she just like disappeared.
Are you sure she was real?
Honestly, maybe she was the spirit on the couch the other night.
No, it's been great. Then the love that's grown for them, the mutual love we have, has been great.
Yes.
We did Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. This was episode 10. It was so
Wow.
early on. It's number 93 on the 2012 list. It's number 196
What
on the
the
2022.
That's-
so it's so good that we did it when we did it. Otherwise, we would have done it in
A long
like 10
time.
years.
That's blasphemy.
But really, like, this was, I don't know, the movie was huge for me, and it still is, and it was one of the very first episodes we did, and I love it so much.
Another early one that we really connected on was Earrings of Madame Dunn.
That was going to be my next point. It was something about those very early movies. I don't know if it was just because, like, and I was like, they were all at the bottom of the list,
Yeah.
remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, like, this list is really good. Like, I've loved these movies. And yeah, Madame de remains one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about our favorite first watches.
Yeah. So I did make a list.
I made a list as well.
You said make a top 10, but then I went through, and because I guess this is our dynamic on the show, I've seen, because I'm old, I'd seen most films on the Sight and Sound list before. So for a lot of these, this is my second or third watch. Some of them, it's been like a decade since I'd seen. So it was hard. It was genuinely hard for me to, so I came up with 5.
Okay.
In no order. These are my favorite first time watches.
Well, and I'll point out that this is how people vote for the movies on the list. It's in no order. You just kind of list your top 10.
Right. So one of these you're going to get a kick out of. So Ordette, the Dreyer film.
Yes.
Satan Tango, obviously. Showa.
Yeah.
A Day in the Country. The Jean Renoir film.
This is an infamous disagreement.
And believe
we
me,
have.
I was so surprised because I'm not like a huge Renoir guy. And I was so surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And then the last one, the last one is Greed.
Also another
Not a real
disagreement
movie,
we have.
according to Jackie.
Listen, most of the movie is still images that some scholar reconstructed in a room. It's not a movie. It's not.
Oh boy. Let's hear yours.
Wow. Well, I made 10
Okay, let's hear it.
because I'm young.
Well, you had a lot more first time watches than me.
I'm just joking. Again, this is in no order. Ali Fear Eats the Soul.
Great.
Again, one of those really early ones that we watched. It was episode 6. And I think maybe I just wasn't used to like the caliber of movies. And so really when we started, I'm like, holy shit, like these are the greatest movies ever.
Yeah.
So it was Ali Fury Eats the Soul, Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, obviously Madame Duh. Wait, you'd seen Madame Duh before?
Yeah, but the first time I saw it, I didn't like it. And it had been like 10 or 15 years since I'd seen
You can
it.
name those. It doesn't have to be like first time
Oh,
watches.
well, Madame Duh was definitely like a very pleasant surprise. Yeah.
Great. Passion of Joan of Arc, obviously. Ordette. Aguirre, Wrath of God.
Oh.
This is one we disagree on. La Talente.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
You
It's
did.
So
The
charming.
Jean Vigo
it's so
film.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Rashomon, which I hadn't seen.
Oh, that's right.
So good. Sans Soleil is tied with like Man with a Movie Camera, that kind of like video essay thing that I really dig. So yeah,
Nice.
those are my faves.
Let's just, I know we try to keep it positive, but what's been your least favorite movie that we've done so far?
I didn't even think about it.
Just off the top of your head.
God. What's the one where they're all killing each other? The Sam Peckinpah one.
Oh, The Wild Bunch.
Yeah, probably Wild Bunch.
That's low for me too.
That's probably it, honestly.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. Like, and it's not because
The
they're killing
Searchers.
each other. I like The Searchers more.
Yeah, I like The Searchers more too.
At least The Searchers is like beautiful.
We
It's,
get-
not, it's just like I have no connection with that movie. Like zero connection with that movie.
We got a little
would be
flack
them.
for Wild Bunch.
It would be Wild Bunch, I think.
But I do remember someone messaged us, or maybe it was, look, sometimes we'll Google the podcast and, find random Reddit threads that we've been mentioned in. And I think someone in some thread was like, we had just done the Wild Bunch and like, yeah, they just like shit all over the Wild Bunch, but their arguments were like really well thought out and like I respect them. I was like, oh, okay.
I like that.
Hopefully they always feel well thought out. I don't know.
That's great.
My least favorite so far, Wild Bunch is up there, but probably Contempt.
Now you're just being annoying because you like the first half of Contempt.
See, I don't even remember that I said that.
You did. You were like, the first hour, I was like, oh my God. Like, yes, this is great. And then you're like, then I just didn't give a shit.
Actually, you know what? If I had to rewatch Contempt or rewatch The Wild Bunch, I would do Contempt. So,
You would choose Contempt?
yeah, it's a rewatch.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about A Brighter Summer Day because that's like a dark cloud over us, I feel like.
That hangs over me in my everyday life. Like, I love Edward Yang and I love...
But I love Edward Yang and I kind of love that movie. Like, but it's weird. Like, I hate, like, it's like Agnes Varda's Happiness almost, where it's like you love it, but you hate it. But you don't hate it. You just kind of like, it's just miserable. But even Happiness is not as miserable as Brighter Summer Day. But I just feel angst about like both of them.
Yeah.
But I love them. Brighter Summer Day is different. Maybe this is a bad comparison, but I felt a similar way when I saw Happiness. I was like, do I love this? Do I hate this? I can't tell.
La Bonheur, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I instantly loved the Varda film.
I didn't. It took like a week. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's actually really smart. And I love it. Brighter Summer Day, I think about it all the time. I do.
That's great.
But like, I don't know. I want to rewatch.
I'm like the only one in my friend circle that doesn't really like the movie. And you know what?
You
I've seen it.
like it.
I think there's a lot of beautiful stuff in there, but I just think it's way too long for what it is. And there's just, I'd have to go back to our episode and listen. That's one of the cool things about having a podcast is like,
Yes.
and you mentioned this, and
Yeah.
I've done this before where like, you're like, wait, what do I think of this movie? And then you like go back.
It was The Third Man for me. I was
The
like,
Third
I
Man.
know I've seen this, but I can't remember what I thought.
Yeah. And you can just listen to the episode.
And it's so telling though, because it's when it's a movie that I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like you don't hate it and you don't love it.
Course,
Somewhere
yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brighter Summer Day is not one of my favorites, but I love Yee.
Love Ye so much.
It's so
that
good.
was one of my that was on my list of favorite first time watches. I'm just looking at our website right now and all our episodes.
Our beautiful images.
I have a question for you. What's a movie on the 2022 list that's not on the 2012 list that you're excited for? Do you want to take a look at the list?
I can tell you right off the top of my head, and
Tell
this
me.
sounds like such a lazy bro answer, but it's true. Goodfellas.
Nice. No, that's
Goodfellas.
great.
I'm excited for that one.
Mine is The Leopard at number 90 now.
I've never seen
Me
The
neither.
Leopard.
And so I think we should save it. I don't think we should watch it until we do it.
No,
for
of
the
course.
movie.
We're going to save it. Yeah.
That and The Piano at number 50.
Oh, The Piano. I'm really excited to talk about that one.
Me too.
Our friend Felicia just did an episode on that on her podcast, Seeing Faces in Movies.
Yeah.
She did, Jane Campion month.
That's amazing. I know there's so many Jane Campion movies, honestly, that I haven't seen.
Yeah, same. But The
I'm
Piano
also
is
excited-
perfection. Yeah.
It's so good. I'm also excited for Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yes. Definitely.
What else?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall all of the.
It's right here.
Is Under the Skin on the 2022 list?
Not in the top 100. Under the Skin is number 169. The Shining, which was one of our personal prints, is now number 88.
Right.
And Pink Flamingos, which was a s'mores,
Yeah.
is also on the list. Isn't that funny? Number 211. The point of s'mores was to choose movies that will never be on the list.
Yes, and then it happened. It was already on the list when we chose it. We just didn't even think to double check that one because I didn't know.
Funny. I know.
I was like, no way is that on the list.
Remember we did Leclerc's?
Yeah.
And neither of us really liked it.
Yeah, I don't hate it or anything.
I don't hate it, but it's nowhere.
There's
near,
some
like.
I've seen it a couple times. There's some cool stuff in there, but
Now it's number 196.
okay, so it's falling.
Mad Max Fury Road is number 196 too.
No.
That's kind of crazy.
Yep.
Tree of Life is 196. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I love the Tree of Life.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
think it's. You know what I'm excited for?
Days of Heaven.
Yes, and Wanda at number 48.
Oh, Wanda, yeah. Barbara Loden.
Barry Lyndon is 45 now.
Yeah. Well, that one's coming up soon for us on the 2012 list.
It's on the 2012 list?
Yeah. It's coming up. Well, should we get to some of these questions,
Yeah,
these listener questions?
Let's do it.
So, yeah, we didn't really screen these. So,
I'm so nervous.
spontaneous answers. Josh says, which list do you prefer, 2012 or 2022?
That's such a good question. You know what? I
2022?
think 22.
Yeah, it's hard to say because we're still in the
think they're
2012
both-
list,
I
but
think
there's so
they're
much.
both pretty comprehensive, but
Yeah.
I think 22 is more so just by the very fact that people just voted for it. And listen, in 2012, I was literally a random high schooler. And now in 2022,
You were in high school.
seeing movies pop up on this 22 list that I love and have seen in recent years, that meant a lot. And so
Yeah.
I'd say 22.
I would say 22. I think some stuff has fallen really hard that should not have fallen. But I think for Jean Dielman being number one
Yeah.
edges the 2022 list out for me a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
He also said, can't wait for Moonlight, Portrait, and Get Out episodes.
Me too.
John says, have either of you stopped dating someone because their taste in movies was awful?
No. Have you, Greg?
No, it might have been part of a bigger. Technically, no, but it was like I said, I was with an ex who got mad at me when we went to the Mission from Vertigo because I was really excited to be there.
Yeah.
Because it looked the same as it did in
Yeah.
Vertigo, and she got mad at me. She's like, "Greg, it's not just about some stupid movie. There's also history here."
That's so funny.
Oh yeah, us massacring Native Americans. Yes, there's that history too.
Yeah.
But would you? I guess is the question. If someone,
There's that famous quote, right, from Day for Night, where it's I would choose a movie over a guy, but never a guy over a movie. It's great, and I live
Yeah.
by that now.
Yep, same.
So I guess maybe it's a matter of do they want to learn is the question. Do you get what I mean? But
I get
it's
what you
also
mean.
it's so funny because if my mom tells me about something she's watching or my sister, whatever, I'll cringe, but then I'll also be you know what? I'm really happy for you. I'm glad that's what you like and you're enjoying it. It's true, but for a romantic partner, I don't know.
I would say when I met Molly, film is not her life, obviously, but her taste isn't like her taste is enough in the right. There's enough of an overlap.
Yeah.
Like I could not be with someone who just like watched like the Madagascar movies and nothing else or something. You know what I mean? Like like an adult.
I love Madagascar.
It was past my time, but just you know what I'm saying.
Funny.
You know what I'm saying.
Don't
Like
choose Madagascar.
okay, sorry, the
something
Grinch.
random.
Oh, sorry, Shrek.
Excuse. Get out.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like if someone
you.
if
I
someone had
agree.
zero interest
I
in
agree.
kind of delving
It
a
would be
little
hard.
deeper, that would be a deal breaker.
It would be hard. Yeah.
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 John also asks, or he says, I'll give you a topic. Art is not safe. Discuss. No, it's not safe. As it shouldn't be.
Safe.
Yeah.
From something or
No, just
for
like
something.
art can be dangerous.
Of course.
Yeah. At least that's how I interpreted it.
Art can be dangerous for so many reasons.
We've done some dangerous films on the show before.
Yeah. Look at Tuki Buki. Many
Tuki Buki, yeah.
animals were harmed.
Yeah, and in terms of like ideas too, you know, I mean, think about like
Happiness.
happiness for sure.
Yeah,
Even
we
something
just did.
like Jean Dielman, like
Yeah.
it's not a safe piece of art.
Not at all.
It's radical.
Risks.
Yeah, but happiness, the Todd Solondz film, absolutely.
Happiness.
That's a
What
dangerous
else have been,
movie.
like, dangerous.
Pink Flamingos, even though it's now been
but it's like-
accepted.
Pink Flamingos isn't. It's not hurting anyone. Like,
No,
you know.
you just see a guy's close up of his butthole
That's true.
singing.
Yeah.
As he flexes
Hilariously.
his muscles, his sphincter muscles. Hopefully that answers the question. I don't know. That's a lofty. That's a lofty
I could
topic.
talk for an hour about
Yeah,
that.
but no, art.
I almost
I
don't
feel like
want
it's
to.
it's not safe. And if
Not
he
at
means
all.
is
And
art
if-
safe, like is it in danger? Then yes.
I think every possible angle of this question you take, the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah.
Is it in danger? Yes.
Is it dangerous?
Is it dangerous in terms of ideology? Yes. Is it a safe career?
Oh yeah.
No.
No. As we can attest to.
Is it secure? Is the future of art secure? No. Okay, then I'm contradicting myself because I said what I meant to say is that it is never safe.
Yeah.
Nothing is safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's never safe. Agreed. And it's in danger. I think too, like we're starting to see it come around. I think Tom Cruise, this little piece of news recently where like he just announced he's going to be in the new Iñárritu film.
He is?
Yeah. Because his
I
last
didn't
Mission
know
Impossible
this.
kind of bombed. And he's been riding high on like Mission Impossible and Jack Reacher and Top Gun and stuff. And he finally kind of had like
this.
a bomb. And as soon as it bombed, he was like, okay, my
need
next
to do something
movie,
good.
Iñárritu. And
Hell
I've been
yeah.
waiting for him to go back to dramas. So
That's
it's like
true, yeah.
hopefully we're seeing an overall shift towards, you know, I think even Dune, maybe we'll save Dune talk for next episode, but I saw Dune Part 2 this last weekend, and even that, you know, I mean, it is a big crowd pleasing movie, but it's thoughtful and has a lot of ideas on its mind and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that's a huge step forward over like the usual superhero stuff. You know, it's like, so yeah. And even though I didn't love it, Oppenheimer, the fact that people really showed up for it.
Yeah, they
it's
did.
this big, and Barbie, you know. So hopefully we are moving in a direction that values art a little bit more.
Fingers crossed. But then we also had Madam Web.
We have, well, there's always going to be the Madam Web around, you know, like,
I loved Madam Web. I think Madam Web is so fun.
yeah, it's something.
It is something.
See,
It's something to behold.
I was
honestly.
laughing, and then I was like exhausted.
I
by-
never got exhausted. The CPR scene, I was like, hell yeah. Like, she taught them how to do that. Now they're doing it.
Mhm. Had to tie that back in.
Chekhov's gun. Listen,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A drama.
Exactly. It's like someone bought an intro to
literature.
screenwriting 101, and I was like, okay.
Greg, it's literature.
It's literature.
Okay.
Charles asks, any plans after both sight and sound lists? Thanks for the insightful and entertaining work. Thanks, Charles.
Oh, thanks, Charles. After both sight and sound lists, so that would be like the top 250
Yeah.
of the 2022 list. I think director's list. Any movies that were not on, which honestly might be kind of hard to find.
I think you'd be surprised. I think a lot of stuff kind of fell off over the years.
Those are our immediate plans, is like
Yeah.
the director list.
No, we definitely don't have any plans to slow down anytime soon. Because we're going to finish 2012, then we're going to go to 2022, then we're going to expand to 250. Then we can even hit the 2012 250, like any films we missed, and we can always go back to like the first ever list from like 1952 or whatever.
That would be so fun.
So
That would be really fun.
and then like you said, the directors lists, which are different. So we have, and those with s'mores mixed in and personal prints, and
it'll be 2032 in no time.
yeah, exactly. So thanks for your kind words. Chris asks, what is Jackie's specs process? How does she find all these facts and pieces of trivia? It's super impressive.
Oh, thank you so much. There's a great website. It's an Australian website. Actually,
Wikipedia.
Aaron, you know what? Don't knock Wikipedia completely.
I'm not.
Because if I do take something from Wiki, it's always like I check the source and I make sure that it's a real source, and then I look up the source, and then of course like there's overlap in the other results that come up. But basically I use mostly I use this website called Senses of Cinema, which Aaron actually led me to. It's an Australian website that just has great essays about like a lot of movies. The Criterion essays are great. BFI has really good articles as well. The Criterion extras, honestly, have so much knowledge in them. And then good old IMDb, honestly, for all the actual specs. Obviously, I get them from IMDb, but research history, it's like Senses of Cinema, Criterion, Mubi, BFI. And then just random sources you'll find online. But I try to back up all of them.
You just go to the trivia section on IMDb and it's like, so-and-so is a vegan.
So funny.
So-and-so has a dog named blank.
Yeah.
It's like,
IMDb is good for shooting locations.
Yeah.
That's where I get shooting locations from.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is very impressive.
Thank
you. Show up every week with multiple pages stapled together.
I do. Today's only one sheet.
The fact that you even brought a sheet for today.
Well, because it just has the numbers of the episodes in case people want to go back and listen.
Chris asked another question. He says, what is your single favorite film going experience memory?
Oh my God, that's so hard.
Single favorite.
I don't like picking favorites. If it hasn't already been clear. What, do you have one?
Yeah, there's like 3.
Go for it.
One was seeing There'll Be Blood at an advanced screening at the Castro Theater in San Francisco, and Paul was there. And I went up to Paul afterwards and shook his hand and said, thank you.
That's really sweet. That would be on mine as well.
And then I saw, this one was no special people attached. I just saw Brazil at a midnight screening in high school, and it blew my mind. And then the third one would be seeing Barry Lyndon. I saw Barry Lyndon at the Egyptian with Leon Vitali in attendance, who plays, was Kubrick's right-hand guy, and he plays Lord Bullingdon, right? I forgot. It's been a second since I've seen the movie. But yeah, to see him, he's a great character in the movie, and he was like sitting 2 rows in front of me. So to just like see the back of his head while watching Barry Lyndon on like 70 millimeter or something, that was like,
that's really nice.
I just had to I took a mental screenshot of that moment in time.
That's fantastic. This is really, it's so hard, and I don't know if I have a favorite, but what I will say, the first thing that always comes to mind is when I saw Souvenir Part 2 at the Arrow, and Joanna Hogg was there, and she came out like a second after the movie ended, and the movie ends, if you've seen the movie is like extremely meta. It's about her life, it's about her filmmaking, and it literally ends with like the most conscious shot a director could ever make, and then she walked out on stage and talked to us about it, and I think that was just
so
just
cool.
So meta. Like, it was just so meta, and the movie's amazing. Like, I love The Souvenir Part 2, and while I was watching it, my jaw was on the floor, and then she came out, and I was like, I love you.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So that always comes to mind. Shout out to Mike and Caitlin. I was with them.
It's always when you see a film that's great, and then like the filmmaker walks out, that still never gets old.
But it was the very fact that it was that movie,
and it's all about her
because
life.
that movie is all about her life and all about her, and then the last shot of it, and then she comes out. So that was pretty incredible.
I saw Love and Mercy. Yeah, I wish I had seen that. I didn't see either of the Souvenir movies in the theater, but I really like both of them. But I saw Love and Mercy when it came out at the ArcLight Hollywood, and Brian Wilson walked out afterwards, and you're
That's
just like,
really cool.
we've just seen his life, and now here he is.
That's really great. How do you feel about seeing movies alone?
Oh, I love it.
Me too. Like, I love it.
I used to have friends that were like, no, I got to go with people. And I'm like, what? I get not wanting to go to a restaurant alone, but like a movie?
Yeah.
Like, just go.
My favorite. So another one that's honest. It's very like I think about this experience all the time too. Is my first ever AMC A-list movie, which was After Sun.
Oh,
and I literally decided to get AMC A-list. It was a Friday. I was done with work. I was sitting at a coffee shop, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get A-list." And I got it, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like I could see After Sun right now." And I went to Burbank. The AMC. I went to Barney's beforehand. I was like, you know what? It's Friday night. It's 5:00. Like, I'm going to get a drink. So I got a drink, and then I walked all the way to the mall, from Barney's to the mall, because that's where it was playing. And I saw After Sun alone, and I was just sobbing. And I had a great time.
I love that.
Yeah, it was incredible.
It's all about that.
Yeah.
It's all about those little moments.
It is.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like going by yourself.
I
Makes it
agree.
feel more personal.
I agree.
And yeah, don't knock AMC Burbank, because I just saw Vim Vendors at Burbank 16.
Listen, I'm not knocking it.
I mean,
just think
I've
it's
knocked
just
it,
so funny.
because there's that annoying Batman statue.
There's a Batman statue, and it's also just figuring out which theater you have to go to, because there's 3.
There's 3, yeah.
Who decided that was a good idea?
Hot tip, if you live in LA, I'm almost hesitant to even say this because it's kind of a secret. There's 3 Burbank 16 AMCs. There's the 16, the 8, and the 6. The
8
6
is in the mall.
8 is in the mall. I hate that one. 6,
That's where I saw After Sun, though.
Oh,
So I have a special
the
place
one
in
in
my
the
heart.
mall.
I mean, it was
Okay.
like an indie. All indie movies go to 8.
But Burbank 6, AMC 6, is a hidden gem.
I like that
it's
one.
Underground,
It's underground, yeah.
and every
fairly
single
recently.
seat is a complete recliner. Like, they go all the way back.
Yeah.
And no one goes there. They all go to the other Burbank
Yeah,
theaters.
I
So, like,
rarely go to that one.
it's chill.
I do like that one.
And there's parking right next to the building, and it's free, and it's always open.
Yes.
Unlike the other Burbank 16, where I have to like circle sometimes for a spot.
Well, I always park in the same place, regardless of which one I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Well, next time you go to 6, park in the structure right by 6.
But I like to park and walk.
Oh,
Get my
okay.
steps in.
The park and walk. I get it.
Yeah.
Elsnor asks, what is the film you watched that got you into films? That's a loaded question.
That's like asking me what my favorite child is.
I mean, you don't have children.
I know. If I did, it would be impossible. God. I don't know.
I would argue that there's different films propelled me along at different stages of my
I
life.
totally agree. I
Like,
totally agree.
obviously, as a kid, it's the Disney movies.
Yes. And Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. I was born in 88, so like the whole Pixar thing, like Toy Story was 95. So I was one of those Pixar kids, because it was like Toy Story, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., like Finding Incredibles. Like, it just, that run was amazing.
That was amazing.
But a big one for me, probably the biggest single influence, was Spielberg. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
even before I knew what a director did,
Yeah.
I just noticed that all my favorite movies had the same guy's name in front of it.
That's
And I was like, who's this
cute.
guy? I'm like, I like his movies.
That's really cute.
So Spielberg, it's probably started the Indiana Jones movies. It's specifically Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Doom.
Probably the
It all
number
goes
one.
back to that.
How about you? Sound of Music?
I agree with you where it's kind of, I think it's in steps. Definitely the Sound of Music, because like when I was a kid, it's so weird. I don't know the first time I saw it, but even as a child, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, there's something special about this movie. And I know it's important for some reason, but I can't really put my finger on it.
'Cause it was
Even
on
when I
2
was a
tapes.
kid. Yeah, exactly. And it had like historic issues in it, and I like asked my mom, I was like, like, what is this, like, what is a Nazi? Like, and that's that's important for a kid, like, you don't forget that.
Yeah.
And I just knew that the film was special, so that's always been like a milestone for me. The Disney films for sure. And then I wasn't kidding when I did my Moulin Rouge episode. Like when I was I was a freshman in high school, and I saw Moulin Rouge, and it like shook my life. Like I was like, this is
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. It is strange to think about, and it's Because I was watching so many. I watched kids' movies for a really long time, and we've talked about this. My parents didn't let me watch even PG-13 until like I was 13. And so I really was watching kids' movies for a very long time. But the ones that stuck with me are like they're good. It's like Babe and Grinch and Shrek. Like those are good movies.
I don't know
the
about
Grinch is good. The Grinch is really good. Or like Charlotte's Web. Like it's, I don't know. Things that were sad. It was things that were sad.
Oh, I love like the original Rescuers.
Oh, I love the original
Yes.
Rescuers.
Everyone loves the sequel, which is still fun, Rescuers Down Under.
I've
but
never even seen it.
the first, it's a totally different movie. The first one is like sad and it's melancholic. It has beautiful, slow songs and like it's very dark and
and it was that, which was sad and dark and like even like Hunchback, which was like so scary and dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E.T. was really sad.
E.T. It's not sad, but the only Ghibli movie my mom showed to us, Lord, like she even knew about, the only
Kiki.
one we had was Kiki. And like, I remember Kiki and I remember watching it and it was such a different pace. And
That's the breakthrough
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really don't knock kids movies because some of them are like,
Do I?
really, no, I just mean in general.
Oh, okay.
Wizard of Oz. I watched Wizard of Oz
yeah.
like a million times. Mary Poppins.
Yeah. I would say I have some really fond memories of being too young for certain movies and like begging to watch them, and then my parents being like, okay, you can sit in on this one. And like Aliens, the sequel, the James Cameron one, was one of the first R-rated movies I saw. I remember they let me stay up late. They're like, okay, you can watch Aliens, and like it scared the shit out of me.
Wow. And
then like Pulp Fiction, I begged. I was like in middle school and I was like, please, and they were like, no, and I was like, please, and I just wore them down.
Oh my god.
And Pulp Fiction definitely was like a turning point.
What was the first Tarantino movie I saw? It was probably Kill Bill. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a loaded question. I mean,
This is such a loaded question. The first PG-13 movie I ever saw. Well, I don't know, because isn't Jurassic Park PG-13 the first one? Then I guess it was Jurassic Park. But like that I went to the movies and saw with like my friend's mom.
Yeah.
It's this Bernie Mac movie called Mr. 3000.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
remember it?
I never saw it, but I remember when it came out.
I'll never forget, because it was the first PG-13 movie I saw in theaters.
The baseball one or something?
Yes, he plays baseball, but he cusses. And so I was like, oh my God.
What was the first R-rated movie you saw?
I don't remember.
Oh, really?
Truly, I don't remember. What's yours?
Grinch. It was either Aliens or it was Broken Arrow, which was this terrible John Travolta, Christian Slater movie, I believe, that was like just so over the top and ridiculous. And I remember it's so cartoonish. I think it's John Woo. I could be wrong, but it's like so over the top. But I remember seeing it at that age. I was like, this is so realistic and adult, and like.
Oh my god!
And they're saying fuck. Like,
I
what?
know when they say fuck, it's crazy. What was it? It must have been something in high school. Definitely not when I was in like middle school or elementary. Because I never watched the horror movies that my friends watched like at our sleepovers. Like I was too scared.
Right.
So I never watched them. But maybe some of those were R. Maybe it was, when did Black Swan come out?
Like 2010 or something?
So I was like 15.
You were 15 in 2010? Wild.
Yeah. Well, at the end of 2010, because I'm born in December, so I was 14.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe that was that the first one? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. I don't remember what my first one was.
I technically saw Time Cop in a theater in like 1994. And it was an R-rated Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that I saw with my neighbors. And my mom didn't want us to see it, but it was like on a double bill with The Mask or something. So like we saw The Mask and then we saw Time Cop. And I remember afterwards my mom was mad that we saw an R-rated movie, but like I don't remember any of it.
Wait, I had another question. Is The Godfather rated R?
Yeah. Although that's like a very light R.
Though, like,
yeah.
That was like always on in the background, you know?
Yeah, like the first one you sat and watched that was unedited too. Not edited for TV.
Exactly. Don't know.
Corey asks, what is the first movie that shattered your preconceptions of what a film could do? So this is slightly different from the last question.
But it's similar.
I would say for me, Pulp Fiction. It was Pulp Fiction.
Great.
That was just my generation. Like that was
Great.
an early radical movie that I saw.
Yeah.
I know a million other guys saw that movie and based their whole life off of it, but like that was a film I saw that like I had not seen anything like that before. And it really truly did blow my mind. And then the other one would be Blue Velvet. I think it was Blue Velvet, where my first David Lynch film, and I just felt like a kindred spirit in him. And yeah, so I'd say those two.
Yeah, honestly, mine was probably a Tarantino movie. It was probably like Kill Bill. To go back to Kill Bill, but it was like probably Kill Bill or like. I will say though, like I always hold a very special place in my heart for In the Mood for Love, because the first time I saw that, I truly like the only thing on my mind was I didn't know a movie can do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a little more recent thing, but like it's hard to go back. I don't have good memory, and I wasn't writing things down back then.
Yeah. I mean, my perception of film still gets shattered from time to time.
Always.
You know? So, hope that answers it. Felicia asks, which director can you both not agree on? So basically, you're surprised they enjoy this director's work and why it doesn't resonate with you. I know my answer. I mean, Godard.
I was going to say.
Godard is one director we cannot agree on.
Yeah.
I tease you. You're not like the world's biggest Godard fan, but you're a fan.
Yeah, I love him.
I don't love him. But I like some.
Right.
Vive sa vie being my favorite,
Oh,
probably.
so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one that like you liked where I'm like, no.
Is Godard like our biggest sticking point?
I suppose.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly. Oh, Bresson a little bit too.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
But I like a few. I just think overall I'm not like a Bresson guy.
Yeah. Am I a Bresson girl?
Yeah. You're always talking about hands. You're like, Bresson and his hands. That's true.
I'll accept.
Becca asks, first movie that made you cry.
Like, what are all these firsts?
Firsts are important.
But I don't remember.
Made you cry. It's probably The Lion King.
Mine? Yeah, it was probably maybe The Lion King. I don't know. That or I talk about Charlotte's Web a lot, but honestly, Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
The animated one.
This is hard because I don't really...
I don't remember crying as a kid. Like,
yeah,
you cried all the time. So it was like...
Well, it's like the older you get, the more prone I am to crying in a movie. Like, I cry more now than I ever did.
Exactly.
So actually, maybe not The Lion King.
I don't know.
Because I don't think I cried. I don't think I bawled as a kid, like, watching Lion King.
Me neither.
Oh, God.
I feel like high school was so important for me, but I don't remember. Like, I don't remember what I was watching exactly.
I mean, the hardest I've ever cried at a movie was the newest Indiana Jones. So
that's really crazy. My dad also cried. So that is so crazy.
I don't know. I don't know the first film actually.
You know what? Yeah. No, I don't remember either.
Yeah.
I don't think I was crying at Lion King and Charlotte's Web, but like if I watch them now, I cry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did then. Also, did we say, was Black Swan the same year as True Grit, the Coen's True Grit?
2010.
So I watched like all those movies. I remember like I watched all of those Oscar movies, and I remember like really, really crying my eyes out when the horse dies in True Grit. Like that impacted me forever, and it always will. My best friend and I still joke about it all the time.
We'll see. If you were a 90s kid, you would be bawling your eyes out over the horse from The Neverending Story.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I know.
There's this scene where the horse gets stuck in like this mud or like this tar pit.
I don't want to hear it.
And he's like, come on. And he's just sinking.
Wait a second.
And then the horse just like gives up and like sinks. And it was like truly traumatic.
Well, okay. Yes. Similar situation. Air Bud.
I never saw.
Oh my God. Air Bud. I probably cried. It's so sad. Air Bud and like Lassie. We used to have the Lassie VHS. But I don't know if I cried.
Yeah.
Or I'm just thinking about it and thinking about how sad it is and I actually cried. I don't know. All I know is that when I saw that True Grit, I was like 15 or whatever, and I was like really sobbing.
It sounds like 2010 was a very like formative year for you cinematically.
It was. I was 15.
Yeah.
Or not even 15 for most
14.
of it. Yeah.
That's when it happens.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Blaze asks, your thoughts on the theory that Eyes Wide Shut is not the final version Kubrick intended? Ooh, nice and specific.
I didn't know that wasn't the final.
Yeah, because he died.
Oh.
He died before it came out.
Are you serious?
So
I didn't even know that.
There are varying opinions on a lot of people. I've heard in interviews that he locked the film and then passed away.
I think it feels like a Kubrick movie.
It does. And that's one of my favorite Kubrick movies. And there's nothing really in it that feels extraneous or like, oh, he would have cut this or would have cut that. So I think it feels like a final version.
I agree.
It's been interesting too, the journey with that movie, just from no one really liked it when it came out.
Yeah.
And now people embrace it.
Yeah.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
A great Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. 99, which was that year that everyone talks about because it was like The Matrix, American Beauty, all of these movies. I think was 99 or it was 2000. A bunch of movies came out in 99 and like people still hold it as like one of the great movie years.
Actually, All About My Mother came out in 99.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great year.
And I'm pretty sure it won, but I don't know if it won in 2000 or 99 Best Foreign Film.
Oh,
Oscars.
right.
I wonder. Anyway.
Jeff says, congrats on 100 episodes. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Here's my questions. What are some of your favorite foods, meals, fets photographed on film? Boy.
Loaded. These questions are loaded.
Oh, I mean, there's like, I know everyone says Tampopo.
I haven't seen it. It's been like popping up everywhere.
Oh, you've never seen it?
And I know the egg yolk scene keeps popping up. It's a wild scene.
Oh no, go ahead.
No.
No.
No, I have to think.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say in the realm of the senses when a guy eats an egg out of a woman's vagina.
Which is when?
In the realm of the senses?
Oh. Do you want champagne?
Sure. It's all right. Perfect. That's good. I mean, that's not my, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of joking with that.
You know, I haven't seen the ultimate food movie, which is Babette's Feast.
Oh, I've seen Babette's Feast.
I really, really, really want to watch it.
That would be up there for me.
Mine would be, this is so random. I mean, there's so many. And even the other day, like a few weeks ago, I saw The Taste of Things, which is amazing. Amazing food-wise. What else is there? Like all the Ghibli movies.
Yes, all the Ghibli movies.
Amazing.
This is a funny one for me. It's very specific to me and my sister growing up. But in Mrs. Doubtfire, there's a scene. Not even Bridges, not Bridges the restaurant, but like
when he orders the takeout.
Yes, when he orders the takeout.
So good.
And he's like dishing it up.
Yes.
And my sister and I always like recreate that, and the music's always like dun 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 dun
so
dun
good.
dun.
I know exactly, and that was a major moment for me too. And another Robin Williams food moment is in Hook when they imagine the food, and he's there's nothing in all the plates, and then when he's playing the game, it's like full of weird like purple and green shit, but still like that. Really, I used to love that.
I love people eating in movies.
I love it so much.
It always makes me hungry. I just rewatched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly because Molly hadn't seen it. And even just like in the beginning when Lee Van Cleef goes to this homestead.
Yeah.
And they're both eating soup out of a wooden spoon.
I love it.
But yes.
Even in Star Wars, when Yoda makes him eat that weird ass thing out of like a wooden spoon.
That's
Anything
right.
with a wooden spoon is a trigger for me, and I love it.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, so many great Japanese
huge
movies.
One. Yes, so many. And even even something like In the Mood for Love where they go to eat so much. Yeah.
In terms of fets, Godfather 2.
That's the big one that comes to mind, right?
Godfather 2. How can you beat that?
How can you beat that?
So there's a second part of the question. He says, and also, should rollerblading make a comeback?
Why not?
Rollerblading versus roller skating.
Oh.
Quads versus inline.
I don't care. I'll take either.
Apparently rollerblades are better for your ankles because you can
They're
kind
not
of
as
tilt.
heavy,
Whereas on
too.
quads, your feet are fixed flat on the. Yeah. I like skates though. I mean, I like quads.
Yeah, because you don't fall.
Well,
You fall, but you're balanced when you're just standing. Whereas
yeah.
on blades, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I grew up rollerblading and I didn't start roller skating until I saw Xanadu. So wait, that's not true. That's not true. Oh, yes, it is. Wait, no, it's not true. the first time I was on quads was in Glendale at the Moonlight Rollerway.
That is the best place ever.
Yeah.
That place shows up in beginners.
Oh.
It's also where I attended so many birthday parties growing up.
Oh, I can imagine.
So many. It was the place to have your birthday, and their pizza is so good.
Oh, I've never had any of their food.
It's so good. I'm still thinking about food in movies. There are so many.
Yeah, honestly.
And I love, that's one of my favorite things about a movie is if we sit down and like eat a meal with these people, whoever those people are.
Jean Dielman.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Like she eats a whole meal.
Or like even in the new Vin Vendors, Perfect Days.
Yeah.
You sit down and eat several meals with them.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
goodness.
I could name a lot for this one.
For food.
Yeah.
I know.
I think the Mrs. Doubtfire one takes the cake.
It's so
It looks like
good.
Thousand
I
Island
haven't thought
dressing.
of that in so long. I know. And he's putting it. Yeah.
And then Ron Williams is like, "Do you have change?" And the guy's like, "Nah."
Yeah. And then she comes in and she goes, "Dinner is served."
It's all arranged so beautifully
Sally
on the
Field's
plate.
face is like, oh, she's like so shocked and so moved.
I think honestly that's part of it because like the way it's arranged, and also it's
The
Chris
music.
Columbus,
Yeah, so it's
where
got that,
it has that like glow to
Yes,
it, and then
exactly.
also Sally Field walks in and is like, oh, and so you're like, this is the most precious, sacred thing.
Yeah, and the candles, she like lights 2 candles. I love Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's so good.
That's an early movie. Like that's a really important movie to me too.
Yeah, same.
Wow, we should do that for personal.
We
prayer.
should. I
'Cause
would
it was
love that
always on
movie.
TV, and I always watch it. That was PG-13, and because I remember, but on TV they would block out him saying like, "You're my goddamn kids too," so I
Oh.
never got to hear it.
But they would censor God and not damn, right? So it'd be like, they're my damn kids too.
I don't remember.
And I was like, why are they doing
It's so
God?
stupid.
Just do the whole word. Why just God?
That's really dumb.
So you can say damn, you just can't say goddamn. I'm like, what happened to separation of church and state here if we're gonna get caught up on goddamn it versus damn
Literally.
it? Great question though, Jeff. Cinematic Lunchbox asks, do you have an all-time favorite filmmaker? If so, what is it about that filmmaker that speaks to you? Good question.
You guys already know I don't. Do you?
Well, I've proclaimed it on this show before that it's Robert Altman.
Yeah.
The last time I saw McCabe and Mrs. Miller, I was like, he's like my favorite. But and he is, but it also like it's hard to just pick one person.
Yeah. I also watched it recently, and I was just like, and I was like, I watched it. Remember how we talked last episode in Jean Dielman where I went and sat on my coffee table so I'm closer to the TV?
Mm-hmm.
For McCabe and Mrs. Miller, the second it started, like I was on my couch and then I was just like, no, this will not do. And I sat on my floor. I kid you not.
The whole movie?
The whole movie. I put pillows and I sat on my floor and was like so close to the screen.
We have to
so
do that for
good.
the show.
We should. I'm sure it's on one of the lists.
I'm sure it is, but if it's not, we'll find a way to get it on there because it's one of the
It's so
one of the
important.
greats. Yeah. Well, the second part of the question, what is it about that filmmaker that speaks to you? I think in my case with Altman, if we're going with Altman being my favorite, and look, if a gun was put to my head and I said Altman, I'd feel good about that decision.
That's nice.
I don't know that I really do have like a single favorite, but he's absolutely like top 3. What does it say about me, or what is it? How does he speak to me? 2 things that I really love about Altman. 3 things, many things. I'll say the top 3. Okay, 1, versatility. He did everything.
Yeah.
He directed every genre of film, from small chamber pieces to huge ensemble dramas. So the range right there is amazing. Independent films, huge commercial films. When he was outcast from Hollywood, he just made it work and shot things lower res and shot with one actor on one set. So it's like, that is one reason. Another reason is that Altman films always hold up. Not hold up, but like they play better on the more you see them.
Yes.
It's like often for me, the first time I see an Altman film, sometimes they leave me a little bit cold. Not always, but usually. And then when I go back, it's richer. And I go back and it's richer. And then literally some of his films just get better and better and better the more times you see them. And that's some kind of magic trick to me because like that's hard to do. And also just like the fact that he's a true auteur and also such a friend to actors, like would openly let the actors collaborate on the characters. You know, some directors are not this way. They're like, this is the character. This is how it's written. This is what I want you to do. And Altman, it was such a collaborative effort. So for so many reasons, Altman is my favorite. But you have to come up with one.
It's so hard. I don't like doing favorites.
Just pick one.
I think Bergman probably.
Yeah, Bergman. Okay, so what is it about his work that
Again,
speaks to
the
you?
range, the versatility, and just like, I think he's the director who's truly never failed me. Like, I don't think I've seen a single Bergman movie that I don't like.
Yeah.
Or even don't love. Like, I love like everything I've seen.
Yeah.
And also he just understands, I think just his humanity is so incredible, and it comes from his background in theater, I think, and it comes from, because he has this background in theater, it's just a devotion to just characters, and I think that's what I love most about movies, and so that's why I love him kind of the most.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
Thank you.
He's up there for me too, for all those reasons you just said. Also him, again, pretty versatile, like
so versatile.
From sex comedies to horror movies to like,
really like crazy, like Persona's like
minimal
avant-garde,
and then he made really minimalistic, muted, like, you know, Winter Light is just like sprawling epics. Fanny and Alexander. It's like, yeah,
he's amazing.
he is. You heard it here first. They also ask, what is it about cinema that you find so enduring and magical? Ooh. I mean, I'll say the number one thing.
Go for it.
There's two things.
Okay.
There's 5 things. I'm saying there's 2 things.
Go for it.
One is that it's forever. 2 is that it's a combination of every other art form. It's photography, it's acting, it's writing, it's music.
Yes,
So
I agree.
it really is the ultimate art form.
I agree.
Like, because it combines all the others. And it's forever. It's eternal.
I concur. And there's so much like theory about art and like film and trying to compare. People compare film to language, like that it's a language. But that's not necessarily true, because language, like if I say the word hello, there's nothing about the sounds of the word hello to indicate what hello means. Now, of course, there are words that are like that, right? But generally they're not. If I say beautiful, there's nothing about beautiful that conveys the meaning of beautiful. Although, of course, there are words that are like that. But in general, they're not. But with film, the main argument against like comparing it to language is that film is so close to what it is representing, because it is that thing it's representing.
Yes.
So it is such a special, it's different. Like painting even is painting. But with film, with photography, we are literally seeing the symbols that are meant to convey an idea. We're seeing them. Do you know what I mean?
Well said. And
it's like I really mumbled it up and made it sound crazy, but it's just the fact that someone was there with a camera actually capturing this thing, and now you're seeing this thing.
Yeah.
And it goes back to being eternal. I think that's part of it.
And I think even in the case of, like, you mentioned painting, like there are animated films, and so like a painting can come to life. It's literally every you know.
Yeah. But just that it is literally the thing that it's meant to convey. We are watching it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, sometimes I'm envious of people who are just like authors or painters, because I'm like, you have one thing and you can just focus on that. You could do it by yourself.
Right.
Even if you're like a musician to an extent, but it's like, as a filmmaker,
you have to know all of it.
You have to be collaborative, right? You have to find a person for each job. And
that you trust.
That you trust, yeah.
In sync with your sensibilities. And
that's part of the beauty of it, when that all works together.
Yes.
But then when it doesn't, you know, then it can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
So it's really like a crazy art form still. And it's still new, you know. It's like 120 years old. It's like we're still Cinema's still a new thing. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll always be figuring it out, because you don't want to get to a place where you're like, okay, we've done everything and said everything we can through cinema.
Right. But what's it going to look like in like 400 years?
Oh, God.
I mean, if there's still
Jeez.
humanity in 400
Honestly,
years.
yeah. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully. Great question, but very, yeah, I mean.
These questions are big.
And they're very big.
They're hard to answer.
I was just watching today, I was watching a Hammer film, Revenge of Frankenstein, and just sitting at home while it was raining and watching Peter Cushing in this great role and just the colors. And I was just like, this is why cinema is so enduring. Like this movie from like 60 years ago, 65 years ago is like just enchanting me on this like rainy day in 2024. So, you know, it took an hour and a half of my time in the most pleasant way possible.
Yeah.
So I lived in that world for 90 minutes.
Yes.
Cynthia asks, what writer-director would you like to pair up to make a movie? Why and what kind of movie? So pick a writer, pick a director, pair them up, and what kind of movie would they make? Oh boy.
Wait, we have to choose a writer and a director?
Yes.
And they have to make a movie together?
Yes.
I just feel like most writers that I love and whose work I know are also the directors of their movies. Like I don't know. I can't name too many like only screenwriters off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But can we like mix?
Sure.
Like, that's the thing. Like it's okay. Like
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman and some.
I know he was coming to mind.
Well, yeah, because he was a writer before.
Yeah.
Or like Sorkin. I don't know. Or can I do a wild card?
Yeah.
Like a crazy combination.
Please.
But they're not even a screenwriter.
Good.
I have a really weird and random combo.
Let's hear it.
You're gonna laugh.
Good.
Okay. Since I said it's hard to like isolate just a screenwriter, I'm gonna go with someone who's not a screenwriter, but it is a songwriter. And it's Taylor Swift because she has a very cinematic sense. I could see you. I see you, and I'm gonna just wait. I think that if Taylor was able to co-write a script in which she also wrote the music for the movie, or it uses her songs, but her slow like folklore or like Evermore. I can tell you're drifting off. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But her slower stuff,
Uh-huh.
and if she was able to co-write a script with a director like, this is so, say like Mia Hansen Love, right? And they were able to write this like really cool New England summer vacation movie because Mia Hansen Love loves Romare and she writes a lot of like Romare-esque things. So if we were able to make this like American Romare movie in which Taylor Swift co-wrote the script and also wrote all the music, that's my pitch.
Hey. There you go. That's a pitch.
It's crazy. If anyone is interested in this idea, please call me up. We'll be very happy to produce.
I think it'll be easy to get off the ground too.
Oh, it's so easy. What's yours?
I'm going to choose Edward Albee, the playwright, and I'm going to choose the director, Alfonso Cuarón.
That's really cool.
Right?
Yes.
I just thought of that.
I can't believe my combo. I can't believe how bewildered you were.
I mean, not
My
bewildered.
combo.
See, I would argue
That's a
that.
really good combination, though.
Thank you.
What would you argue?
I would argue that Lana Del Rey's music is more cinematic than T Swift's.
I agree, and Lana would also be great in this role. However, T Swift is a film girl. She is a film girl.
Yeah?
She is.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't she making a movie or something?
I don't know about that. I mean, she had her concert movie.
She's going to direct a movie, I think.
Is she really?
Yeah, I'm surprised I heard that and you didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I mean, there's
she's
like
gonna
All
direct a
Too
movie.
Well, the short film.
No, I saw like an article. It's like, what's next for T Swift? And it's like director. And it's like, she's going to make a movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think that she would just write a really good story about like young adults who are kind of obsessed with each other, but also fuck everything up.
Maybe Paul Mescal could be in it.
Oh, perfection. Perfection. This movie will finance itself.
Did I say the magic words?
Yes. That's great.
We have our final listener question here. This comes from Ryan. It's a sweltering summer day. The classic ice cream truck of your youth swings by your street. A handful of quarters in tow. What sweet treat are you buying to beat the heat?
The like Tweety Bird.
Oh yeah, Tweety Bird with the gumball eyes.
Eyes. Yeah, eyes.
It wasn't just Tweety Bird. It was also Taz and Sonic.
Tweety though.
Yeah, you would get Tweety.
Obviously.
Wait, Tweety's a boy.
So?
And you hate birds.
It's true.
So wait, why did you get Tweety?
I don't know. It's just that was what I gravitated towards.
Did you hate birds then too?
Maybe not.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Yeah, if you got Tweety.
You know, there's a picture. My grandma used to have like parakeets. There's a picture of a parakeet like on my arm when I was a kid. So I guess I wasn't scared.
Yeah, I've held a tarantula in my hands before.
There you go.
I guess when you're a kid, you're just like not really.
You're not.
Yeah. My go-to. Oh, they also had the Ninja Turtles. It was all of those. The ice.
Yeah,
they were fun, but the bubble gum would get really hard from being ice cream. And my go-to was the strawberry shortcake one.
Wow.
The strawberry shortcake bar on the stick. That's my fave. I used to get it all the time.
That sounds so good right now.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
My friends make fun of me because even now, if we're like hanging out and I hear the ice cream truck bell, I'll like stand up and just run out of the house.
Wow.
To go try to catch the guy.
Catch him.
Although he doesn't come around here. It's like whenever I'm at a friend's house, he doesn't come here.
Usually at parks they come.
Yeah, in some neighborhoods.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Paul Mescal because there is a scene in Normal People where he goes out to the ice cream truck.
Oh, really? I need to see it. Well, I want to thank everybody for submitting all of those thoughtful questions.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we answered them with some sort of coherence. But yeah.
To sign off, I guess, is there anything you've learned about Pauline Kael?
Oh, I think it's reaffirmed how much I love her doing the show.
That's great.
Because so often, what movie did we do? We did a film recently, and I was talking to Aaron, who's going to come on the show soon, about the film that we both didn't really like, and he loves it. It was Metropolis. So yeah, we did Metropolis, and both of us were kind of like, I mean, it's like, a spectacle, but it's not like amazing. And he loves that movie. Aaron loves the movie. And then we like backed it up with the Pauline Kael review. And he's like, because I was talking to him about it, he's like, yeah, you even backed it up with you brought in the big guns. I was like, yeah, she agrees. So it's kind of like, if we're in agreement about something and Pauline,
I know, I feel so good.
Then it puts up a wall and we're like, boom.
That's it.
Definitive statement.
But would you say that we've mostly been in sync with her or no?
You know what? I would say it's like half and half.
I would say too.
And I think that's why I love her so much.
Yeah.
She keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I agree.
Well, shit, Jackie. This has been fun. Shooting the shit with you and chilling. I'm on my third glass of champagne here.
Same.
And,
Happy 100.
Happy 100. Here's to many more.
Aww.
And yeah. Thank you all for listening, and especially anyone who listens to the show. But some of you have been around since the very beginning, and we're so grateful for each and every one of you.
And we're grateful for the friends we've made because of the show.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's been a huge plus, honestly. Yeah. Like I've met so many people from doing this show, and it's a blessing.
I agree.
And it's officially the second time I've said the word bless on this episode, so I think it's time to wind down. I don't remember, but I remember I said it another time. So, on that note, next week, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. We're doing Modern Times.
Oh, Modern Times.
So, our first chaplain on the list so far. So, come back next week for that. It's going to be great. Until then, I'm Greg.
I'm Jackie.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Special thanks to the patrons at our highest tier, John Pennington and Cynthia Fordwell. Seen and Heard is an official podcast of the Arroyo Film Club. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line, you can find us on email at hello@seenandheardpod.com or on Instagram at seenandheardpod.